Introduced in 1982 to almost instantaneous success, Shimano 105 has long been dubbed the group set of the people. Famous for featuring tech trickled down from Dura-Ace and Tiagra, 105 has long been the reliable companion for millions of riders worldwide. For over 40 years now, 105 has been the staple for mid-range bikes and people wanting a more affordable option. But I think it's time that we retire its famous nickname. 105 is no longer the group set of the people. Wait, why? Well, because I don't think it's the group set of the people anymore. Why? Because there's a more people-y option. You can't just call something people-y and say it's better. Yes, I can. What could possibly be more people-y than 105? Okay, so I know there are going to be a lot of questions right off the bat, but don't worry, we're going to get there. Now, what I wanted to talk about first is why I think that 105 was dubbed the group set of the people, and I think it comes down to three major things. Those are going to be affordability, versatility, and accessibility. For the majority of its 41-year lifespan, that did perfectly apply to 105, but I don't quite think that is the case anymore. The newest iteration of Shimano 105, the 7100, does come in a mechanical version and a Di2, but it is only hydraulic disc brakes, and it is kind of getting quite up there in price. But if we do look over to something like Tiagra 4700, I think we're going to find a whole lot of things to like about this group set. Tiagra 4700 was first introduced in the late 90s as a, quote, high-performance entry-level component series for recreational road sports bikes in the latter half of the 1990s when road bikes were growing in popularity. Originally, this was meant to be the intro into road bikes for a lot of people, and it did fit that extremely well. Okay, it didn't really work extremely well, but it did its job at least. But as the years have gone on, like with all other Shimano group sets, technology has trickled its way down from the upper echelons to Tiagra to give us the 4700 that we see today. But first, we need to talk about its... So Tiagra 4700 as a complete group set is going to run you anywhere from between about $250 to about $500. So right there, that's a fantastic value for the money. If we compare this to the latest iterations of 105, the mechanical version is going to set you back about $1,000, and the Di2 was pushing around about $2,000 at the time of its release. Obviously, you can find deals online that are going to bring that price down for you quite a bit, or even buying used, but we're just talking about the actual MSRP price of the group sets themselves. Even if we break it down and we look piece by piece at these group sets, a rear mech for Tiagra 4700 runs you about $35. This makes it an exceedingly good value up front, but also down the road, in case anything does happen to any of your parts, they're exceedingly cheap to replace. Also, because of this affordable price, it makes it a very good option if you're wanting to kind of neo-retro an older bike and give it a modern group set. Little note on that later when we talk about the versatility, but it is a group set that I see very commonly in one of my neo-retro velo groups on Facebook, with a lot of people choosing it as their group set they're using on these older bikes. Also, bikes that come equipped with Tiagra 4700 are going to be much, much cheaper than any of the other higher-end ones. We've talked about a few of them before on the channel, such as the Ribble R872, but the one I wanted to show you guys today, this is one that I am actually considering buying. This is the Versatility Empire Sport. The Empire Sport does come stock with 4700, as you can see, and that is an exceedingly attractive price. And as told to me by my new best buddy Sal at Versatility, so shout out to you, Sal, the sports frame is identical to the Comp, which has the 105 7000, and to the Elite, which has the Rival AXS. These frames are identical, so that means that down the road you could very easily upgrade this bike to hydraulic disc brakes, to electronic shifting, really to whatever you would want to do with that. And the frame itself weighs about 1,000 grams. The fork itself comes in at about, I think, 392, so 1,400 for the total package, give or take a few. That's a good bike for a really, really good price. That's a clear winner in my book, honestly. Okay, and a little quick side note, because I know someone's going to point this out, that the Comp here does have 105 and has an amazing price as well. Important to note, this is 105 R7000, so it is a little bit out of date, quote unquote, but personally I do think 105 R7000 is still a fantastic 11-speed group set. You could definitely go with that bike right out the gate if you do just want to go with 105, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to be looking at the Tiagra model, and the reason I want the Tiagra one over the 105 is because I like the colors better. Look, I'm just gonna say it, okay? I like the colors better. But this does bring us into our next point, which is we are going to be talking about I mean by accessibility is not only is this group set widely available everywhere, it's also beautifully simplistic. This means that anyone who knows the basics of righty-tighty, lefty-loosey could probably spend about 20 minutes on YouTube and figure out how to repair it themselves. So thankfully, Shimano has kept the 4700 relatively straightforward, making it ideal for home mechanics. No electronics, no fancy tricks, just a group set that does its job. Now, also when looking at 4700 as a group set, there's a lot of things to consider is which one you're going to go with because there are quite a lot of options. 4700 actually comes in options for rim brake, disc brake with cables, and hydraulic disc brake. But that leads us into talking about its... Now, the latest versions of 105 have been taking the world by storm, and I do think they are fantastic group sets. I am not using this video to talk down on 105 at all, simply to highlight the points that I think 4700 is a better fitting group set for a lot of the general public not looking to race. I mean, having a 12-speed group set like its big brothers in both mechanical and electronic is really fantastic, and I do think the price is great, but that's kind of all there really is for 105. Do you want a reliable, easy to maintain, go-getter group set for the road that you could even put on an older rim brake bike? 4700. Do you want a gravel group set with reliable and fast-stopping hydraulic brakes? 4700. Do you want disc brakes, but you don't want to deal with the hassle of having to do brake bleeds and you just want to throw a cable in there? 4700. Do you want a flat bar setup for your city bike so you can even just commute to work on it? See, this is the part where my editor will put in that same clip of me saying 4700. That was a joke, everybody. I edit my own videos. I don't know if I should be proud about that. Regardless, 4700 even offers a triple chain set for people who are looking to still stick with that. So let's say if you just want to ride your bike and you need that extra little gear out there, you're not really concerned about it too much, you could still put a triple on your bike with Tiagra 4700, something not offered in the upper echelon group sets. I mean, it shouldn't be, but still. And while 4700 itself is a 10-speed group set, it uses the same 1.4 pull ratio as the R7000 and the R8000 11-speed, so those are the 105 and Ultegra group sets respectively. What this means is technically, it's a little bit of an anomaly in Shimano's lines. The general rule of thumb that with Shimano products is 8-speed will work with 8-speed, 9-speed will work with 9-speed, 10-speed will work with 10-speed, and so on and so forth. But with this one, you actually can't mix and match it with previous generation's 10-speed, but you can go up to 11. Yes, so because this uses the same pull ratio as the R7000 and the R8000, technically something you can do if you're looking to upgrade from Tiagra 4700 to an 11-speed group set is you could even buy those derailleurs first, the rear and the front. Now the rear mech, all you would need to do is this can get a little complicated, so don't worry, I'm going to show you. There's a very specific little thing you need to do to make them compatible. So let's go to my bike real quick and we'll check it out.
You're going to adjust that limit screw until it's 10-speed.
Yep, so that's it. You just put the rear derailleur on there, and then yeah, you just adjust down the limit screw to make it only a 10-speed derailleur, and it's still going to shift perfectly fine. You can put Shimano Tiagra 4700 shifters with R8000 or R7000 rear derailleurs. And just for clarification purposes, if you do decide to do this, it's not going to be 11-speed on the back because your shifters are still 10-speed, so you will have to limit down the rear mech to 10-speed. But effectively, you would be able to use those parts interchangeably. Now, would you maybe necessarily ever do this? No. But it proves a point. And obviously, I'm not just looking at this through rose-colored glasses. We need to actually look at some of the downsides as well. Downsides being is, it is gonna be a little bit heavier than some of the bigger group sets, and that's just gonna be what you kind of pay for, is you are getting a much better price, but it's gonna be a little bit heavier. It also isn't going to be as durable as something like 105 or Ultegra. So you need to kind of take a look at your riding yourself and determine if you are going to be riding enough miles that you think that 105 or Ultegra is going to be worth it. Basically, I would say, look at it this way. If you're going to race, get 105 or Ultegra. If you're not going to race, 4700 is absolutely perfect for you. But also, I don't even think we're gonna have to make that choice much sooner between 10 or 11 speed because, as pointed out by David Arthur in his latest video here, he thinks that in 2024, we could be seeing a Tiagra 11 speed. And it really does make sense because that would be the next logical step for the line. And I'm going to link to that video down here. He does have really, really great takes on everything, and I really love his videos. So this is one I would say is well worth checking out. He has some really fun predictions for coming in 2024. Even with some of these flaws, I still think that overall 4700 really does deserve the actual mantle of the group set of the people. You can put it on more bikes. You can use it in different ways. It's super easy to work on, and it's just a good group set, and it looks fantastic too. Something I haven't mentioned yet, but I actually own a Tiagra 4700 group set. It still hasn't been built on a bike, and I'm very excited to do that soon. But honestly, when I opened up all these packages, I was blown away by how good these components look. They don't look cheap. They don't look like lower end. They look like the real deal because they are. And maybe that's all that people need. Maybe all we need is a good group set. Maybe it's just one that does its job. Maybe the people want something that is simpler but effective. Something that'll bring a smile to their face without completely draining their wallet. A group set that will take you countless miles to far off places. A group set that will serve you faithfully without having to charge a battery. A group set that you do not need to download a firmware update for. A true group set by the people, for the people. And I will not stop shouting this from the rooftops of every bike shop until every person in this country knows my love. And 105 will abdicate the throne. We will crown 4700 as the group set of the people. I mean, I'm probably switching to SRAM for my next group set anyway, but still.